Hi, so who is the InsightLA moderator this morning? Do we know?
Oh, um, hi, Trudy, it's Anissa.
Oh, hi, Anissa. Anissa, do you have any idea why there are only, six people here today? Are we
Eight so far.
are we
Uh,
having the sign-on problem again? Because I signed on with no problem and no what do you call it? No ID number or anything.
Hey Trudy, I could give you an idea.
Yeah,
It's
tell me
Candace. It's Candace.
what's going
Sorry. Here I am.
what's going on?
Yeah, I when I used the link, the Zoom link that came from the registration, it said inauthentic, something failed, and then I had to go and sign into my actual online, like web. I don't know what you call it, like Zoom account through the web, and then the link would work.
This is a mess. I'm
Yeah, I know. I
I'm
was lucky because I was really praying I'd get in. So I don't know. I could try. I'll try calling Bernard, and he'll call Bob, and etc.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna call Alicia. I'm so sorry. This is like a total mess. I can't believe it. In all my, how many years of teaching, yeah, we haven't had this. I mean, even, of course, the in-person teachings. I guess once 20 years ago, I forgot to unlock the door or something, and we all had to hang out on the sidewalk till I found the key. That did happen once. All right, I'm going to call Alicia and we'll get to the bottom of this. I'm so sorry, everybody. In the meantime, welcome to our Sunday morning sitting group, those of you who got in, and hopefully everybody else will be able to get in soon.
a lot of people are joining, Trudy.
Oh, yeah, maybe they were just a little late.
Maybe so.
Maybe. I sit on an exercise ball if you wonder why I'm jumping up and down. It's not like I'm actually jumping up and down, I'm just bouncing. Okay, I want you to see our Valentine tulips. There.
Those are beautiful.
Aren't they pretty?
Yeah. Tomorrow, one more day.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to talk about, we're all going to talk about,
Do we have any upcoming events, Trudy, that you
I'm not,
wanted to mention?
I'm not really aware of the upcoming events. That's not really my job to know. Sorry
Okay.
about that. I don't track that. I'll be right back, everybody. I'm just texting with Alicia, our executive director. Participants, comma, not normal. She's probably all set for the Zoom bombers, but for some reason, people have had trouble. They've had to go into their account or into the internet in some different way, and there's only 25 here, but it's your birthday, so happy birthday. I was wondering when your birthday was. I have a great present for you. Exclamation point. Okay. It turns out it's Alicia's birthday. I don't want to trouble her anymore with this. We're enough people. We're going to begin. We're going to have a wonderful time. And I am just really sorry that this is happening. But welcome, everybody, to our Sunday morning sitting group, the morning before Valentine's Day, which when I was a single person meant absolutely nothing to me except that my mom would send me a Valentine. Um, and as a couple, it's a day when you sort of make an effort to, if you've been married for, 100 years, to rekindle that romantic spark and if you're in any kind of partnership relationship, just to remember the love part. And we're going to talk about what we've learned about love in this life so far, all of us. And because really the beauty of the teachings of mindfulness and loving kindness is that it's really about the love in our own hearts and how we manifest that in the world. So, it doesn't really, it's not so much the Cupid insistence on romantic love kind of love. And yes, it can be sad if you're alone, but that's the blessing of this practice that I really discovered was that I could not only feel love in my own heart through, access it, but also to find ways to express it that would didn't have to be romantic at all, but would be fulfilling and warm and friendly and cut through that sense of loneliness that happens. So I'm Trudy. I'm the founder of InsightLA. Really happy to welcome you this morning. And we're going to, for those of you who may be new to this sitting group, we sit for about a half an hour with some guidance and plenty of silence. Years of being alive about love. And also, there's going to be a surprise. I have a really nice surprise for you after the meditation. So let's sit together. Just find the frame that your body, can be still for a while. I'm going to lead a loving kindness meditation today with some phrases from Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'll of course embroider or change them because I always do. But Thich Nhat Hanh is the teacher great world Buddhist teacher who passed away, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who passed away last month, just a few weeks ago. So I thought it would be wonderful to honor him with these phrases. So once again, making sure that you're sitting in a posture that is comfortable for you. I'm sitting on an exercise ball today. You might be lying down, sitting in a chair, sitting on a meditation cushion. However you're sitting, when you're practicing metta or loving kindness, metta means friendliness, true friendliness. When you're doing this practice, it's just important to be comfortable because there's a playful element to it. It's meant to gladden our hearts, which is hard. It's hard to feel glad or playful if you're in a lot of discomfort. We begin by taking a deep breath in and releasing. And another intentional deep breath in. And gently releasing any tension in the body. And once again, breathing in the aliveness of being here together. And breathing out, let the shoulders lower and relax. In this meditation, I invite you to offer some phrases of friendliness, of kindness and caring and love. All you have to do, I'm going to suggest some phrases. These are inspired by Thich Nhat Hanh. And just silently repeat them to yourself. And all you have to do is listen to what you're saying. It's not self-hypnosis. You're not trying to make yourself feel any particular way. But with each phrase, you're planting a seed of intention, of loving intention. That's all. And we begin with ourselves and then offer to somebody you care about, and then to all beings. Very simple. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May he, she, they be peaceful, happy, and bright in body and in spirit. Light here doesn't refer to weight or heaviness, just more like lighthearted, in a bright mood. May all beings be peaceful, happy, and light in body and in spirit. May I be safe and free and protected. May I be safe, free, and protected. May he, she, or they be safe, free, and protected. May all beings be safe, free, and protected. May we all be protected from anxiety and worries, from inner and outer harm. May we all be free and protected from anxiety, worries, from inner and outer harm. And when you notice your mind wandering away, simply come back to the phrase, just like you would come back to the present moment of breath or sound or sensation. You come back to the phrase, may I look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. May I look at myself with eyes of understanding and love. May I learn to look at her, at him, at them with eyes of understanding and love. May I learn to look at her, at him, at them with eyes of understanding and love. May I recognize the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I recognize and touch joy and happiness in her, in him, in them. May I recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in her, in him, in them. May I learn to identify the sources of anger and ill will in myself. May I learn to identify the sources of worry in myself. May I learn to see the sources of anger and ill will, of sorrow and worry in her, in him, in them. May I learn to see the sources of anger, of ill will, of sorrow, of fear in her, in him, in them. May I learn to look at all beings. May I learn to understand all beings. May I learn to love all beings. May I learn to understand the sources of suffering in all beings. May I learn to understand the sources of suffering in all beings. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in him, in her, and in them every day. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in all beings, in everyone, all day. May I know how to nourish seeds of joy in all beings, in everyone, every day. May I learn, may I be able to live awake, fresh, stable, and free. May I be able to live fresh and awake, stable and free, free from worries, free from sorrows, free from regret. May she, he, or they be able to live fresh and awake, stable and free. May she, he, and they be able to live fresh and awake, stable and free. May we and all beings be able to live fresh and awake, stable and free. May we and all beings be able to live fresh and awake, stable and free, free from worries, free from sorrow, free from regret. And for the rest of this sitting, please use whatever loving kindness phrases resonate with you from the ones you've heard, from your own practice, if you have practiced this, and many of you have. Or you can just evoke an image that gladdens your heart. A kitten, a puppy, a beautiful place where you've been happy. And just feel the gladdening, the uplifting, however faint of a trace it may be. Just noticing it will amplify it. And very gently, just let this feeling suffuse your whole being as we sit together. And if there's nothing pleasant available to you, which is unlikely, but if that's the case, and it can be sometimes, see if you can just offer yourself some tenderness and compassion. This is how it is today. And it will change. So I have a Valentine's Day surprise for you today, um, which is that Jack is going to teach with me.
Hi, Trudy.
We thought for Valentine's Day it would be a good idea if we taught together as we talk about, yeah, here. Wait, there. I want you, yeah, you're in the frame. Okay. Can you all hear us fine? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so I really thought it would be appropriate for us to teach together and in our exploration of what we know about love so far in our lives. And I'm going to turn it over to Jack, and then I will do some teaching, and then we are going to open up for everybody, for all of us.
Hi, you all. It's great to see you and great to be here together with Trudy. So happy. Trudy, my dear, will you be my Valentine?
Oh my gosh, I already am.
I love this woman. This is about the best thing that's happened, certainly in the last 50 years or so of my life. To fall in love with Trudy and be together is just wonderful. So we're having a great time, and we have. I mean, we've known each other for
Since our 20s, since
Yeah.
we were in our 20s.
Since we were
We weren't
in our-
alive in the 20s.
But anyway.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, it's so great and very wonderful to see you. So, the theme that I'd like to articulate or give voice to as we come together today, I know Trudy's been teaching on the Eightfold Path and we'll try to weave it together, is what have you learned about love? And there's a certain way in which it's possible to frame the Eightfold Path. And Trudy may do that, and George did last week. The practices and vision of wise effort and wise mindfulness and the preceding practices of sila, of virtue and care for one another and generosity, they're all acts of love. In some deep way, that is that's the essence of them. There's a poem that I like by Thomas Santalella called "In the Evening We Shall Be Examined on Love." In the evening we shall be examined on love, and it won't be multiple choice. In the evening when the sky has turned that certain blue, the blue of exam books, we shall climb the hill as the light empties and park our tired bodies on a bench above the city and try to fill in the blanks. We'll be examined on love like students who don't even recall signing up for the course and now must take their orals, forced to speak for once from the heart. What unknown quality will balance the equation, and what would it mean years from now to look back and have understood what love really means? In the end, when we look at spiritual practice, when I look at mine, I started, wanting to be awake, wanting to be concentrated, wanting to learn insights, wanting to get enlightened, whatever that meant. And now, more than anything, I just want to be able to love. And I see it as somehow the fruition and the culmination of spiritual practice. So Thich Nhat Hanh, who you know died just recently, Trudy spoke of him recently. He gave a series of lectures on love that are in one of his many, many books. And he was going to teach the Brahma Viharas, the awakened heart states of loving kindness and compassion and joy, equanimity. So he started to give this series of lectures to his community. And I have a feeling people sat there and attended to him because he's a wonderful teacher, and maybe drifted off a little bit, like here he is talking about love. And then when you turn to the second chapter in the book, they were more or less the recording of the teachings, he begins with a sentence something like, "She was just 18 when I first saw her descend the staircase in the monastery in Chu Lai in North Vietnam, or whatever it was in Vietnam. It wasn't even divided at that point. When I fell in love with her. And I imagine everyone in the room sitting up in their chairs and leaning forward like, okay, it's one thing to have Thich Nhat Hanh talk about, oh, practice metta and practice loving kindness. It's another like, what? You fell in love with this young nun? What did you do? Because actually that's what captures us. It's what touches us in the deepest way. And Thich Nhat Hanh, in his own unique and marvelously deep way, embodied that. I'll let you read the story to find out what happened. You probably guessed the end since he did remain a monk. But anyway, I remember when Thich Nhat Hanh was visiting Spirit Rock and taught for 2,000 people that we had seated on the hillside. And they were all seated there. There was a big platform we'd built with a sound system and a kind of stage. And Sister Chan Kong and some of the other monks and nuns offered mindfulness teachings, and then they gave out apples. And everyone ate a mindful, slow apple in Thich Nhat Hanh style. Apparently he did that with the Secretary of State and the foreign ministers. He had this amazing meeting with these top politicians, and they were all debating the fate of the world, and he said, stop, I want you to eat an apple. And it kind of blew their minds that they could stop and pay attention in that way. So people were all there ready to have Thich Nhat Hanh teach. And then he walked up the road, which you could see from the platform behind where we were. Everyone could see him walking up. And he walked so mindfully and so deliberately and slowly, graciously. It was like the movement of something that fit with the whole natural world. And as he walked slowly, I could feel the whole hillside just go, ah, yes, that's what it means to be present. And that presence itself is a kind of love. Maybe the most important one, to actually be present for the world. As it says in the casino in Las Vegas, you must be present to win. And it's pretty much the game for the rest of spiritual practice. And there's all different kinds of love. We know there's romantic love. I need you, I want you. I do want you, I need you, I love you. Yes, there is that, and we love it. And there's sensual love. I love to walk in the redwoods, and I also love Ben and Jerry's chocolate brownie ice cream. That's a kind of love, There's parental love and communal love and community love and creative love. All these different kinds. Creative love to bring our art, life out. Underneath it all, I think almost all of our human activity is an expression of and a longing for love. To express ourselves, to be appreciated, to find ourselves and our place in this world. And so, right effort maybe is the effort, the dedication, if you will, just to be present for this mystery with love. And there's a story I want to read. I may have read to you before in some previous year, but I love it, so I'm going to read it anyway. During my first year of teaching, a girl named Shay was assigned to my 7th grade class. She was a desperately unhappy child and rebelled against the most basic rules, such as stay in your seat and raise your hand to speak. Shay and I battled for control of the classroom. I tried every technique I knew, behavior contracts, praise, reprimands, none of them worked. I called Shay's home every week. No one answered most of the time. She lived with an older sister who was busy. I went to the school counselor, who said I'd done my duty and offered to transfer Shay to another classroom. I declined. Shay was my student and I wasn't going to pass her on to someone else. In the faculty lounge, the older teachers patted me on the back, thankful they didn't have Shay in their classroom. June finally came. On the last day of school, Shay was quick to head out the door. As I sat contemplating my failure with her, she walked back in. Oh, great, I thought, one last act of terrorism. In Shay's hand was a small bowl, the kind that students made in ceramics class. She thrust it into my grasp. Here, she said, it's the only thing I could think of to give you. I turned the bowl over and saw Shay's initials etched on the bottom. Thanks for trying to like me, she said. And before I could speak, she turned and left. After several more years of teaching, I went on to become a school principal and now a superintendent. Shay's bowl has never left my desk. And maybe that's a part of what I've learned about love, as Oscar Wilde says. It's the imperfect and not the perfect who are in need of love. And the fact that we're all human in our deepest and most remarkable ways. This is just who we are. I also think about how contagious love is, what I've learned. That when I practice metta, and I love doing it, walking down the street and directing little metta to people as they, walk by, or if I used to be on airplanes when I used to travel. Remember that world? Anyway, and I'd sit on the plane and, read my book or magazine or whatever I was looking at. And we tend to get so isolated in this culture. And then I'd put it down and I'd look around and I'd do a little metta for that old grandmother sitting over there and, with her granddaughter, and that teenage kid over there, that boy, and, that fellow there in the, wearing his MAGA hat and in his sort of political guise, and that person over there, with whatever, other form she took. And I would just start to do metta for each one, for the young and the old and the ones that seemed like my pod and the ones that seemed different than me. And after 3 minutes, I just felt connected to them. May you be safe and well, each one of you. And I go back to read. And then when the plane landed and we all got up to trundle our bags off, I almost wanted to say bye to each one. Bye, I love you, take care. It was like I felt this connection because in those 3 minutes, I let myself pay attention. And somehow I do believe that I've learned that we catch it from one another. And love is kind, as they say, and it's forgiving. The old Tibetan nun who said, she was describing her practice, she said, my old faults, like snow falling on warm ground, just melting away as the poet that she was. And I remember visiting my teacher Dipa Ma, who was this great sage and amazing yogi and meditation master in Calcutta. And I'd gone through a really hard time in my life, and I was doubting whether I was a good teacher or not, and I brought all my difficulties to her, and she listened, and she encouraged me. She said, any gift you can give that tells people that it's possible to be present, possible to be mindful and compassionate for whatever's going on is a treasure, however you do it. And then she said, she gave me a little gift. And I was on my way from Bodh Gaya. I stopped in Calcutta on my way to the airport. She lived in this sort of somewhat funky apartment complex, and it was a scorching hot day. And she said, let me give you a blessing to help you in your teaching. And she was little and she hugged me. They hug in Bengal, happy to say. And then she began chanting metta and kind of putting her hands on my head and my face and so forth. Metta, 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 love, 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 love. Okay, I accepted it. It was really quite beautiful. And then more and more she did it, and I started to smile. And she did it more, and I started to grin. Because she had this incredible stillness about her and depth. Like Thich Nhat Hanh, when she was there with you, you could really feel it. Love, 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 love. I gave her a gift and I went out to the streets. It was probably 110 degrees. There were crowded buses and oxen and rickshaws, and it was the 1970s in Calcutta, and the streets were just packed with people. And I got a taxi, and it took forever to get to Dum Dum Airport, which is the name of Calcutta Airport. And then I stood in a forever long line, and the air conditioning wasn't working. And finally, I got on my plane to Bangkok. I was sitting there. Then I landed at Bangkok, and there were again really long lines, and it was very hot. And the entire way, I was just grinning, stoned, like I'd been whacked by the love bomb. And for 3 days, I was just walking around saying, oh, I love you to everything. And it's kind of what I felt being with Ram Dass in the last years of his life, where his practice melted him into love, and he just said, oh, I love you, and I love that gray wall behind you, and I love, the dishes in the kitchen sink, and the sunrise, and I love everything. And it changed what I thought my practice should be, and what really mattered. Because in the end, when a baby is born, the first gesture is to hold them with love. And when someone's dying, that remarkable passage, if you sit with them, you hold their hand, and they exit with your attention and love. That's what matters in the beginning and the end. How about the middle? That's what wise intention, and wise livelihood and wise effort and wise attention and concentration, all of those are really acts of love, and they infuse and fill our spiritual life. And in the end, it's the game. So that's kind of what I've loved, and the last thing I'll say is this few lines of a poem I think I got from you.
Yes, you got it from me. Well, you got it from me, but it was Mary Oliver. I didn't write it. I wish I had.
To live in this world, you must do three things. You must be able to do three things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones as if your life depends upon it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. To love and also to let go. So now I let go and turn it over to my beloved.
Thank you, Jack. So I have a first part of a talk that I will give to next week. I'll offer it next week because, in some ways you could think of meditation practice, of mindfulness practice, of the way that an ancient Zen master, he lived till he was 104. He said, Zazen, or meditation, is making room for another. And if you actually reflect on this and you realize, oh, it's making room for something besides my thoughts, that torrent of thinking. It's stepping back and making room for something else to appear, something new, something that maybe you didn't expect or that it wasn't there before. Anyway, thank you, Jack, making room for me and for me making room for you to be here. And that's one of the things that I've learned about love. I'm going to just go right to the things I've learned about love is, it's like, it's actually psychically making room for each other and for the way we are. And I think the first thing for me is just learning to recognize the slightest loving gesture or glance or word, and to appreciate it. And if possible, to appreciate it out loud, because to that which we give attention, right, that is what grows stronger. So receiving love from Jack, if you do something sweet for me, and like you bought me those hair scrunchies.
Yes.
I didn't ask you to. I just had run out of hair scrunchies, and he bought me some. Now, you might say hair scrunchies, some people want emeralds, right? But the thoughtfulness that he went and got them, and then appreciating that. And then he's, guess what? Probably more likely to get, well, if I needed more, to get them again.
Now we'll move on to the emeralds.
I don't want any emeralds, but they are pretty.
Diamonds, darling.
And, I remember a story from a friend of mine, and he was he was in love with this guy. He had a big crush on him, and they were just beginning their relationship. And I guess that it was maybe they had made love for the first time, but he was, you really need a call back after that, right? And he didn't call, and he was calling me, and he was freaking out. And then it was 2 days later, the second day, he was stepping up onto his little porch before the front door, the stoop, and he noticed a bunch of violets that he hadn't noticed before. And it was from his new crush had left the violets. So that missing the violets became a kind of slogan for us for the times that somebody offers you something sweet, but you miss it, maybe because of your fear that it won't be there, or for whatever reason you just don't see it. Or maybe, I think the other thing I've learned, that opening to that kind of love, to receiving in that way, it's generosity. It's a form of generosity and surrender, letting love be given the way that that person wants to give it, and not the way that I think they should give it. He should have called me back. Yeah, it's sweet to leave the violets, but I didn't see them. He should have called me. As a couples therapist, how many times did I see people miserable with each other because the love actually was being offered, but in a form that wasn't right for them? And it can be very extreme. I remember one couple, he brought her flowers, and they were, I think, carnations, some other kind of inexpensive flower. And I mean, you might not have even known that carnations are an inexpensive flower, but she knew. And she wasn't happy with this bouquet. It should have been, I don't know, what's the most expensive flower? I don't know, maybe roses and yeah, she felt that that was the measure of his love for her. And we forget that we have these ideas about, what it should be, or if it's not this way, it's not going to make me happy. But they're just ideas. They're just ideas. And so whenever I think that love should take a particular form, or whenever you think that love should come in a particular form, realize you might be missing the violets. You might be missing the joy, actually, that is right in front of you, or that is right in front of me. I think another thing I've learned about love is you kind of have, for it to be like real love, our consciousness has seeds of everything in it, right? And our sense of ourself is born with us when we're born. So there's naturally going to be some attachment, some possessiveness. Maybe you have to be a little bit deluded to fall in love in the first place. You have to overlook the, perhaps the shortcomings of that person. You have no shortcomings.
I know, my
of
dear,
course.
nor do you, of course, but just in case.
But it could happen that your beloved has a few shortcomings, and so maybe you do have to have that illusion to fall in love, to get together. But then how do you stay together? And you stay together the same with a person, the way you stay with yourself in meditation, by acknowledging the good, the bad, the ugly. All of it is there in our consciousness. All of it is possible. As Thich Nhat Hanh says, the seeds of everything are there. So which seeds are we going to water? So I think for mature love, I've learned that I have to look at whatever natural attachment and possessiveness we have to each other, and see when it starts to get to be a little too much, just to see and identify. And that's where mindfulness comes in. We have to have mindfulness because these attachments and ideas and they obstruct the flow of love and life in us. And attachment always turns into aversion. Have you noticed that when you fell in love with somebody and you got together, that after you were together for a while, the very things that had made you so attracted to them start to bother you? They become perhaps a problem. So this is just the work of mindfulness. And the last couple things that I've really learned about love is that it's like the light of the sun. and the stars. It's freely given every single day, delivered to your whole life inbox every single day. It is available to us when we learn how to be present with ourselves in such a way that we can be present with others with some tenderness and understanding. It's a well that never runs dry as long as we're alive. And as deep as I go in my own practice, it's there in the silence, it's there in the vastness, it's there in the stillness. It's there in the willingness to be present when maybe the heart is broken or in agony. It's not as an emotion, because you don't feel all lovey-dovey when you're suffering, but it's like a felt energy of presence. And that almost palpable felt energy of presence is what our practice is about. It's the presence of love and how we share that love. Because, I could sit in my cushion and be just swimming in a sea of love sometimes. But then what happens when I stand up and interact with other people? That's where, for it to be real love, for it to be genuine, strong, stable, fresh, free, like all those metta wishes we were offering, for it to be like that, it really has to include that willingness to be present with everything that appears in our consciousness, with everything that life presents to us. That's some of what I've learned about love in this life. And what we would like to do now is invite you all to share whatever you've learned about love in your life. And, I'm talking right now about love relationship because I'm in one and we're here together. But Valentine's Day, as I said at the very beginning, when Candace chatted about the loneliness of Valentine's Day when you're alone and you're not in a relationship, it's a day when we can practice metta, when we can practice loving kindness, when we can turn our hearts to be truly friendly with whoever appears, with whatever appears in front of us. And we can make it a day where that's the intention tomorrow. And I guarantee you that even if you live alone, even if you're feeling lonely, you do that all day, you will not be lonely at the end of the day. Or you will be feeling tender toward the loneliness and it won't hurt as much. It'll just be that poignancy, the bittersweetness of life. So yeah, whoever would like to share whatever you've learned about love for your dog. I kind of want a dog. Jack doesn't want a dog. Dogs love so unconditionally. So it could be the love of your dog that makes you come home and walk your dog even when your friends are going out to do something else. It doesn't have to be, like I said, the Cupid love at all, but love for your child, Katie's love for Gracie growing up, whatever you learned in the course of it. You could raise your hand and either we or I or Anissa will call on you. And we're both really looking forward to hearing from you, so please be generous and let us. Bob.
Hi, thanks, Trudy and Jack, for all of that. The part I wanted to talk about was it really hit me when you said metta could be translated as friendliness, which I never heard. I don't know, maybe it's been around and I couldn't hear it or see it. I don't know, but it's really, but it's kind of hit me hard in a great way because I've always been kind of a friendly person. I mean, I know that, people know that. But I tended to think of it as what's the right word? Like a little superficial. That's not quite the right word, but not as great a state, or quality as compassion or, those kind of. And so I don't know. I'm just feeling I'm feeling really moved right now to go, oh, right. That's metta. I know that, I don't, yeah. And to value it in myself more than I have.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then if I value it, I can do more of it, more of it better. I can give myself to it more wholeheartedly without a sense that it's not enough somehow.
Exactly. You can
Yeah.
appreciate it in you.
Yeah.
Fully appreciate it.
Right. And then in other people too, as you were saying, when I appreciate it in me, I can appreciate it more in people. And then I had this other thing about one thought I had about Jack's thing about the airport. I realized when I'm in the airport, you're seeing all these people because you're just hanging around waiting. You're seeing all these people. And I became aware one day that how I look at other people. And it dawned on me that what I don't see in that first moment of looking at somebody, and it's just a choice, is their heart. I see how attractive I think they are, or what their emotional state seems to be. Do they look worried or hurt, whatever. But it dawned on me that, I could just as easily, my default could be, I see everybody's heart when they walk by. It's a discipline. I have to sit there and, practice it because I was conditioned to look at everything else. But this reminded me of that. And I could look at their friendliness, right? So
Yeah.
anyway.
Which would be pleasant, right?
It would be uplifting for me. And as Jack pointed out, probably for them too, without their knowing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. So, Gabby, are you there? Did you disappear? Well, you had your hand up. Maybe you had to leave. So,
Oh,
Jean,
I'm here.
oh, you're there. Okay. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, thank you. It is a treat. Thank you. It's so nice to have you both in a small group. So we have hundreds of people. It's really hard, but thank you. Really, it's a treat. And I have many, many things to say, but I like to narrow it down, I guess. I think for me, love has been hard, coming from disorganized attachment, and I had to figure out like what's going on with me, and from my upbringing and family with domestic violence, So, and I notice now as an adult, as I've been on the healing path, and I love love and kindness meditation because it does help me heal. I noticed that lately, I look forward to having a partner, and I become very rigid, and it's hard for me to trust and finding that partner because of trying to break patterns, right? Not finding a partner that is in substance use. And I feel like I've finally broken that pattern, and I feel like I haven't been able to feel at ease when meeting somebody new, and I bring that rigidness with me. Like I get like a spaghetti, like popsicle, just frozen. I'm like, don't touch, like not like, like this is my territory. Nobody goes here. Like it takes me a long time to trust someone, really, and I'm trying to be at ease with metta practice. But that's one thing I've noticed in me lately, and I use metta practice for that loved one that, I'm so glad he's still alive. Maybe 2.5 years sober that I know, but I still carry him in my heart. It brings me happiness that he's still alive and breaking those patterns and feeling, being with his family, with his children mainly, that he needs, that they need him to stay alive. But I do know that in my metta practice that comes up. I always wish him well, regardless.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Gabby.
And metta I use it all the time just for that, you know.
And do you offer metta to yourself when you're feeling frozen, when you're meeting somebody new and you're like, ah?
I don't know what to do. I try to be at ease, you know, and often I select going on walks and walking in the park, and that helps. I know that helps to be at ease with that person. And the last time that person was walking like too far ahead of me, and I felt like, there was a disconnect, and I was like, oh, I guess they like to walk ahead of me. I don't know. They're trying to prove that like they could walk faster than me. I don't know, but that was weird. But no, like it just in my mind, I'm like, I hope I can find someone that's into mindfulness too, or all this. Like, and I don't want to make a checklist.
Well, Gabby, listening to you, the image that also struck me was your word of being frozen like a popsicle. And I invite you just for 30 seconds to close your eyes and feel that how you get frozen, which is actually, it's trying to protect you, you know, it's trying to take care of you, your body and mind to make sure you're safe. So first say thank you. Thank you for trying to protect me. I'm okay now. And notice what happens when you feel that and say thank you with some gratitude and kindness. It's almost like, I mean, I think of chocolate popsicles, which I love, so popsicles can actually be okay. You say, thank you for trying to protect me. I'm okay, just where I am. Including the frozenness, you could just say thank you to this too. And let your body soften and your heart kind of melt a little bit. What do you notice happen when you try to do that?
I feel shaky because I don't know if I'm trying to shake it off me.
Yeah, and lovely. You feel shaky, and you don't have to stop the shaking. It's like you're putting your arms around it all. The shakiness, the tentativeness, the frozenness. If there were a little girl who was tight and rigid, you put your arm around her, you'd hold her, and she'd go, oh, thank you. And so you're not trying to change her or fix it or make it go away. You're just bringing in love. How's that feel?
It feels good. It brings to mind a sentence that someone told me that I deserve the right to be loved. And I carry that with me and more so by me than anyone else.
Yes, yes.
And that's something I've been working on.
Well, feel it. Just stay with it and let yourself feel it, that you do deserve to be loved. And let that be with you all day today, not just in this conversation, but as you walk and as you do your errands and as you sit down and get up and move and so forth. Feel that quality of deserve to be loved. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby.
So tender.
And Gina, when you're ready.
A couple of things that come to mind with love are doing what's right and not being right. And ask for what you need and ask what the other person needs, because people aren't mind readers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And that takes some courage too to ask for what you need. You know, it's really important, I think. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Gaina, do you want to
Hi.
unmute yourself? Yeah, hi. Oops.
So I feel a little shaky bringing this in, but I wanted to get my voice in that I almost left the meeting today when the idea of Valentine's Day came up. And certainly, well, the context is that my husband died a little over a year ago of cancer. And I thought, I don't want to hear this today. And I sure don't want to hear the two of you teach about love. And what I'm coming away with is more openness. And, getting close again to the reality that as I continue to love and to be grateful to all the people that I've got around me who are so supportive and so loving, that as I continue to open up to that and open and open and open, that it's an act of loving my husband too.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And I want to thank you for your courage in staying here. And people are going to be sending you love in the chat. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes because if I were in your situation, I would feel exactly the same way. Like, I can't bear this and I don't want to. And you stayed. You stayed, Gaina.
Dana, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Dana also,
Dana.
Dana,
No,
yeah,
gay with a G.
Dana. Also, when you let yourself listen and get quiet for a moment with all this, with the tears and the tenderness, and let yourself sense that your husband could send you a message, maybe even close your eyes if it's comfortable, and feel, what's your husband's name?
Rich.
Rich. So let yourself, which you probably have done, sense and say, it's coming to Valentine's Day, Rich. And feel what message Rich would want to make sure you hear from his heart, wherever you are, Rich. What would he want you to know?
That I'm so loved, not only by him, but by so many people. It's
Yes.
just true, and I know there are so many people who loved my husband. Some of them I didn't even know well, or some of them that I didn't know at all, who were still reaching out to me because of their relationship with him.
So you're so loved, and you're loved by him and by all those who loved him, and you let yourself feel that. Beautiful.
And I want to echo again what somebody put in the chat just now about your courage to stay with this, to stay with the feelings of aversion and not let them be in charge of you, but to stay and to open yourself to the love that could even be here, Gaina, for you. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because, I think we all sense this today. It's you having the courage to say what seemed like it was not of love, but actually is. And, it could be tomorrow, any one of us. That's life changes on a dime. Any one of us. We can't take it for granted. So thank you so much. Yeah. How is it for you right now, Gaina?
I feel cared for by this group, which is a real gift. I'm glad I spoke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big hug. Yeah. And look at the chat. People are sending you messages. Yeah. Lori.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm coming to you from Massachusetts.
Are you the Lori Klein that I used to know? Yes, I can see you are. Oh my gosh. We worked together at the Community Therapeutic Day School. I don't know. Is that what it's still called?
I don't think it's even there anymore.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not where it was. It's in a new location, but that school completely exists. I co-founded it with Alan Shapiro and Bruce Hauptman and Nancy Fuller, and that school is going on still.
Really? That's
Yeah, it's up to eighth grade now or something. It was just preschool when we worked there.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, so I'm delighted to be here. I just thought it'd be fun to see you and to sit with you. And so I feel a little bit like an intruder because I'm assuming this is a group that sits together a lot. But thank you for having me. And what I want to say is that I'm looking out the window and it's snowing and it's so beautiful. And I think one of the things I sent a poem to you guys to on the chat that
Did
I
you write it?
yeah, I wrote it when I was in Sedona with a friend on a yoga and meditation retreat. And I met this woman and I hate this, she was just one of those people who was like a porcupine, you know, she just was like scratchy and yucky. And I wanted her to like me. And she kept on saying bristly things, you know, and I just wanted her to like me. And I got really sad and really lonely and felt terrible because she didn't like me. And that the next morning I woke up with like, what is wrong? You know, why doesn't she like me? You know, like it was all about me. It wasn't about her bristly personality. And we did some walking meditation along a creek. And there were these reflections in the water and these ducks that were floating along the water. And it was so beautiful. And all of a sudden I felt filled with love, filled with love. And what the last line of the poem, it says, maybe seeing rather than being seen is the path to love.
Hmm.
Just really loving, sending that, like Jack on the airplane, just sending that love out and loving what is, what's here. So that's a piece that when you asked, you know, what do you know about love? This is the piece that I'm constantly having to remind myself. You know, when it slips away and I feel unworthy and unloved, or, you know, nobody loves me, that kind of thing. I live alone. You know, my daughter doesn't call. All of a sudden, I'm not worth anything. And then I look out the window and I see the snow or I see your beautiful faces and all gone.
Would you like to read the poem? It's not a long poem.
I'd be happy to. I just have to find it. I guess
That's
it's in,
beautiful. Yeah,
yeah.
Rebecca is just appreciating seeing rather than being seen.
Says, how often have you felt unseen, unheard, so alone that you thought your heart would break? Can you notice right now the resilience and strength of your spirit? By the simple act of shifting your attention, the heart begins to sing. Wake up, you have all you need. Turn away from the ever repeating thoughts of unworthiness. Turn toward the textured reflections of clouds and reeds in the creek. Follow the mother mallard with her chicks gliding through the sunlight on the water. Perhaps seeing rather than being seen is the path to love.
That's beautiful, Lori. Thank you.
Gorgeous.
So good to see you again after all these many, many years.
Don't even say how many it's been.
I'm not.
It was just yesterday.
Right.
Time is, you know, it's folded in half, right?
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sochi.
Hi. I just also just want to thank all of you for, I think it's a loving gesture to be vulnerable. And I feel that from everyone. And it makes me feel loved in a way that I didn't even maybe an hour ago. So I feel that's important to say. I think something that I'm learning about love is being someone who never felt loved by like parents or just people. And I think because it was never something instilled of how to be loving toward myself. is this feeling that maybe I've always been loved. Maybe I can kind of go back to these memories that were really hard and difficult and traumatic and imagine, but I was loved through them. And that was there, even if that was not something that I felt, even if I felt the opposite, that there were always not just people, but beings and like nature that could love, that was loving me at that point. And maybe reframing some of those kind of traumatic experiences through the interconnectedness of love, of like just the birds and the trees holding me, and petting a cat. I don't know, it's a really healing feeling, a really healing thing. And this is a really new thing for me, so it feels like it can go away really quickly too, like in a second. But my dad passed away 2 years ago, like when the day the pandemic was declared, my dad passed away. And it was the most, for me, it was the most loving moment I'd ever had with him, to just be with him and hold him and let him care, let me care for him.
Yeah.
And to be able to have just shown him all the love that I could and talked him through it and hold his hand and thank him. And that for me, I think it opened up my heart to a new kind of love and feeling other people's love and being able to love the really hard things too, like the really hard transitions that feel like heartbreaking. I think that's what I'm learning. It's not easy. And it feels, again, like it can go away in a second, but I'm holding on to it right now.
It's beautiful what you've shared. Thank you. Thank you, Sochi. And it reminds me, I mean, when you talked about that practice of sort of going back and looking at some of the hard things and even reframing at, that so many of the things that happen or the terrible things that parents do, they're a misunderstanding of love. They're a love that didn't know how to be expressed in healthy ways that would be supportive of a child. But like you said, there was love all along. Just, yeah, that is really important. And thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for, as Sochi said, your vulnerability and the beauty of what you've shared and the courage. And what a gift for us for Valentine's Day, for each one of us in this group. And Lori, it's a drop-in group. There's no intruding, just come whenever you can, whenever you want, whenever you're able. And before we stop, I want to remind everybody that there are breakout groups, which are small groups that you can be in after a 10-minute bio or whatever lunch, whatever time zone you're in. After a 10-minute break, there will be breakout groups where you can continue this conversation or whatever conversation you'd like to have as you get to know other people in this community. And Rebecca, it was Lori who wrote that poem. And Lori, would you post it for everybody in the chat? You posted it for me, but I want to lead a brief meditation as we close. So,
For everybody.
oh, you did post it for everybody. Okay, good. Thank you. Wonderful. So, Ritz, I'm sorry you'll share with us next week because unless, I don't know, I hate to, Ritz, come on, unmute. We'll just take a minute, okay? We really have another minute to meditate together. Okay, we'll do that next week then. Thank you. So let's just sit together for a moment. And as we close this part of our time together, where we sit, study, listen to teachings, and when I say sit, I mean meditate, because I know everyone isn't sitting and certainly not sitting in the same way. We take a moment to just appreciate whatever has been of love in this time together, whatever has been beneficial. And then we take a moment to just imaginatively send that love, send the goodness of our practice, share the blessings or the goodness or the benefit, whatever it's been, to share with all beings everywhere without exception. May we and all beings grow in our capacity to see love and be love. Remember, I wish I could just play that phrase for you. Remember from the Beatles, and in the end, the love you make is equal to. Anyway, that can be our theme for tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for being an inspiration.
All you need is love, right?
Yeah.
The Beatles.
Well,
the last words of the Beatles.
Love
yes.
and a little wisdom, a little
Yeah.
mindfulness too, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody can unmute yourselves, say hi, goodbye, and see you next week.
Thank you,
you very
everyone.
much.
Bye.
This all went by too fast.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. If you are coming back for the breakout groups in 10 minutes, please don't log out. We'll just meet back in 10 minutes and then we'll go until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Thanks, Anissa. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Trudy. Thank you,
you.
Jack.
Thank you.
Oh. Oh.
Hi, Bob.
How's that?
Hi. Hi. I'll be right back, Meredith. I'll be right back. I trust you. Call from Jenny Craig, please.
Okay, that made me laugh.
Oh,
Bless you.
yeah,
Bless
thank you. I
you.
forgot everybody in the whole cosmos could hear me either. Not, well, you know, a lot of people. Y'all be in the cosmos.
I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
What you say?
Are you feeling good today?
You mean me with a sneeze?
Yeah.
I'm feeling okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for your share. That was brave.
Nowadays, you never know. Allergies, who knows?
Sometimes I sneeze when I grieve. Strangely enough. It could
When
be.
you grieve?
Yeah, it's hard for me to cry.
Oh, so you sneeze.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh,
I wish I could cry more easily.
oh, yeah.
Meredith.
Yeah, sometimes our tears can get stuck somewhere. I wanted to cry today when I was talking, and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. You
and I was
would.
like, oh no, I'm video. I don't want to do it. It's like
Yeah,
be
you
a
do
cry
as
baby.
well.
Yeah, what a
Meredith,
great session.
Yeah. What?
Um,
Sherry.
I'm seeing some bruising on your face. Is that bruise?
Yeah, I fell down face
Oh.
first into.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I missed that. Oh, that looks really painful.
It was. Yeah, I've spent the last 2 days in bed.
Hmm.
oh
It was official head trauma.
no. What?
So sorry.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Are you able to eat and chew? That's my first concern.
Yeah.
Haven't been hungry. Somewhat emotional.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, you know, maybe I lost a pound. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. You
Can
got
never
close
be
to
too
the.
thin.
I can see it now. You got closer to the camera because I'm on my phone. It's kind of tiny, but yeah, you got really whacked. Did you see
I'm
the?
sorry that
Go
happened. That
see
must
the
have been
doctor.
so terrifying as it happened.
Yeah.
It was. You know, it's interesting. When I hit the asphalt, I thought, oh, this is my face. You know, I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, things slow down and you.
Yeah. But, I was given notice by surprise to leave where I've been living.
Oh.
And she was very angry and I've been looking for work and they know I'm not working and they just, you know, what they want and need is the only thing that's being considered, in my opinion. So I've been very shaken up and it shows on my face. I mean, I tripped in the dark, but you know, I've been just shaky. And thank you for all your kind, lovely, oh my God, you look awful. Yeah, it's
You look like you feel awful. You don't look awful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you a secret. Well, first of all, I'll just say, you know, I'm not working, haven't worked for a while, a couple of years, because of my age and my trouble walking and COVID and why am I saying that? Oh yeah, I have money that I haven't wanted to use, but I'm not bereft the way I have been. I mean, I'm bereft, but I'm not without resources, which I'm glad of. What was the secret I was going to tell you? Oh yeah, you know how kids, when they get hurt, sometimes they go, look at me, look at my big scar, look at this, look, I got a cast. Well, truth be known, I kind of felt like that this morning. It's like, my friends are going to be there, look at me. Oh, it's hard to say these things. And then I saw Jack and I was like, oh shit.
He's a person too.
Yeah, I know. I'm slowly learning that. Oh God, I used to idolize him terribly. But it's good to see everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just got in. Why did you say, oh shit, when you saw Jack? I'm sorry, I missed that. I apologize.
Oh, 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 it's just a silly little story.
I'm sorry. You don't have to repeat the whole thing.
I look like I fell down on my face because I did. Bruises and stitches and I was going to show up my feeling when I was logging in was like a little kid, like, hey, look at me, I got a big owie. And then when I saw Jack, I was like, oh shit. I don't know. I can't act like that around him. But I probably can.
Oh, you should have. He may have given you a little bit of,
Love.
some kind of his dose of love.
I
Yeah.
know. I thought that too.
And also, did you go see the doctor though? Did you?
Oh God, yeah. I
Kenneth?
was in the ER for some hours.
Oh, that's good.
They were very nice. I had CAT scans. My brain is okay, and I didn't break any bones in my face or my neck. So.
Yeah,
Well,
the main
I
thing
hope you
is
have
no
somewhere
blood
to go
clots.
immediately when you
Bernard.
leave.
It's very good that they gave me notice. I mean, it's been very difficult for me here. And so, yeah, I'm talking to my first potential roommate this evening. You guys are so nice. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how senior housing is in the area you live, but sometimes it tends to be inexpensive in certain places. If you have like some kind of income, I don't know if you have disability or from work.
You
Social
are
Security.
pushing all my buttons right now, honey.
Oh, too many questions. Sorry.
No. I just feel sensitive that I haven't been working for the last couple of years.
That's hard. That's really hard.
It is. It is. I have resources that I haven't money that I haven't wanted to use, but since I fell, it's like, all right, I am done struggling with this, difficulty at the house, difficulty looking for work. I'm moving. I'm using this money to leave. Not all of it, but I need to be somewhere else for some, maybe for, yeah.
So if I could say, I haven't seen you, Rebecca, at the breakout groups before. Is this your first time?
No, I've ages ago, long time.
Okay. Well,
not on a regular
hi,
basis.
welcome. And also, Lori, I'm so glad you popped in today. It's excellent. I love your poem.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's great.
Bernard's a writer too.
Oh, I just started a creative writing class. I wouldn't go that far.
Well, then you're writing.
Very
so you're a
tentative.
writer.
Very tentative. Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah.
Lori, would you mind putting in your email address? Because that poem was very meaningful to me and I couldn't quite get it down. Would you mind putting that in, Lori?
You're asking me?
Yeah, can you put in your email address?
Why not?
Why not? So I felt like, oh, hi, Robert. I haven't seen you for a little bit too. I felt like when Trudy started doing the meditation, I was so angry about something that had happened earlier today, but I feel like for like the last week and a half, my anger was just like so much on the surface, like one of those volcanoes that's letting out steam, but there's still something there, and I couldn't, like, all the metta, my head was saying it, but I couldn't feel it in my body, and I just kept doing the thing, but then something shifted when Jack told the story of the young girl, the 7th grader.
Yeah.
When she said at the end, "Thank you for trying to like me," I just had these tingles and like goosebumps all over my body, and it was just so beautiful. And so then then at least my head could be visiting the anger. But my body had switched. So it's really an awesome process. And I just love all of you guys so much. I look forward to these meetings.
Yeah, it just all went by so fast. I couldn't believe when we hit the end that it was already over because it just seemed to have started.
Oh, it's nice to have it there.
Hi, everyone. I don't mean to interrupt. Do you want to stay as one group, or would you like me to break you out into groups?
One group would be fine.
I love the group. It's a beautiful group.
Yeah, let's stay.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll go until 1 o'clock, and I'll give you a couple minutes warning, but I do need to log out and end the meeting at 1. So sorry to do that. I usually can go longer, but I appreciate you guys and enjoy your time together.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Bernard.
Yes.
Amy Spies, have you done her creative writing? Are you aware of it?
No.
She is a teacher at InsightLA. I was really just grateful to be able to moderate a small mindfulness creative writing day long that she did, but she has a class every Sunday.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, it's just beautiful. So I wanted to let you know about that.
And her name is Amy Wise?
Any spies like a secret agent.
I took a
Amy
day-long-
Spies Wise. Okay.
Yeah.
I took a 2-day something with her a few years back, and I really, really found it helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you for the tip.
Can we just look up her name, or how do we find her?
When
the
you go to the classes or to the InsightLA, you can just go to the
calendar
resources. You could just type in teacher Amy Spies, SPIES.
STIES.
S as in Sam, PIES.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. She's
I
great.
want to plug Natalie Goldberg. If you've ever read her books, Writing Down the Bones. She's
I took a look at her book. Yes.
Okay, great. Well,
thank you.
Natalie is a very powerful writer. She's some important things to share. Yeah.